Direct from the Six, world-renowned, Canada's largest city, with Canada's biggest thinkers, visionaries, and hustlers. This is Startup Talk, featuring the founders, funders, innovators, and community leaders who've led Canada's startup ecosystem right here in Toronto. You'll hear the challenges, the failures, the successes. Toronto's Startup Podcast gives you the full story direct from the entrepreneurs and influencers who've made a difference. Now, the host of Startup Talk, the founder of TorontoStarts, the Startup Coach.
How can founders start build a relationship with investors? What are the best ways for founders to build and maintain relationship with Canadian investors?
I have a sort of go-to one. A lot of people talk about building in private or building in secret, and I think that's the opposite. That's a bad idea. You want to be building a community from the beginning. So what I would recommend doing is have basically like a little newsletter. So you send out an update. I don't know if it's going to be quarterly or monthly. Maybe monthly is too much. Quarterly is usually a good amount, but every time you go out and you meet an investor or you talk to anyone about your company, you basically just want to see if you want to solicit and see if they're willing to join your newsletter. And you just slowly build up this little community of people who you're keeping updated on what the business is doing. Good or bad, send out that newsletter every quarter. And you just build in public slowly. By the time you get to the point that you want to raise capital, maybe you've got 500, maybe you've got 1,000 people on this newsletter that you can then talk to and approach in that way.
Yeah. I'll put it simple. Be genuine. Be genuine, because investors and angels, they'll be able to sniff through the bullshit for the most part, but just be genuine in your approach. Be genuine in what you want to do. Be genuine at the end of the day.
Two things I would add to Alex's point, because I love that philosophy and I love that approach. One of the things that does is call your shot, right? Like, one of the best things you can have done before sitting down for a capital raise conversation is 9 months ago, reached out and said, hey, I'm building in your space. Do you want to follow my journey? Cool. And then every 3 months, hey, I did a thing. I'm going to go, this is the next thing I'm going to do. 3 months after that, I did it. Here's our next thing. Right. If you can come to the table with a track record of, hey, I told you I was going to do a bunch of things, I did the things, and I'm showing you I consistently execute on time against the plans I set, that's huge. And the other extension, I would say, Alex, and this is just probably personal opinion, but for founders out there, when you're building that list and you're building in public, do it on your personal brand, not your company brand. This is something I did not do properly in my first couple of companies, and honestly have regretted it since, and I'm doubling down on investing now as I grow multiple companies. But the reality is, especially if you're a founder, whether you're successful or not with your first company, you're probably going to do multiple. If you do the entire list building, brand building, community building in your company, when you get to a point where you sell the company or shut down the company, you get to start from zero the next time you build. Whereas if you do it on your personal brand, you build a personal brand and reputation of sharing those updates, sharing that how you build and building that newsletter. Every time you launch something new, every time you do the next step, you carry all of the traction from the past forward with you.
That's it.
Which is hugely, hugely valuable 15 years down the road.
This has been Startup Talk, Toronto's startup podcast. For more exclusive content, the episode vault, and to be part of Toronto Starts community, visit TorontoStarts.com. Get your name on the newsletter mailing list and check out our upcoming events. For more episodes, subscribe now. And please recognize the time and work behind the scenes put into connecting you with the biggest visionaries, entrepreneurs, and innovators in Toronto by leaving a 5-star review. Join us for more next episode from Toronto's most active entrepreneur and startup community on Startup Talk.